What's up everybody? My name is SirBastflow and this is my vlog in Japan. So, like I promised in the last video, I'm about to talk about the living costs in Japan, and as a person who's coming from Finland, I'm comparing the prices to another rather expensive country. So, as you may have heard, Japan is quite expensive, still cheaper than Finland though. And since I'm living in Ōita, I'm talking about the prices in Ōita because they might be different in Tokyo, and I've heard that Tokyo is more expensive, especially when it comes to the rents and transportation and so on. But yeah, let's start with the transportation. Public transportation is pretty good in Japan, and especially trains and train connections are really convenient, usually the cheapest too. As an example, from my university, which is like 12 kilometers from the center of Ōita, it costs 250 yen, which is roughly $2.50, and that's not too bad. Taking a bus is not really cheaper for a short trip. It usually takes more time and it can actually get more expensive. And taxi naturally is very expensive. As an example, again from my university to the center of Ōita, when the train was 250 yen, taxi is 3,000, which is roughly 30 euros or $30. When going from a city to another, usually train is the most convenient one, but there are also buses that are going. And I think the cheapest way to travel from a city to another is nighttime bus. And the topic number 2 is food, since that is quite essential for us human beings who need to eat to stay alive. Eating in a restaurant can be cheap, but it can also be very expensive too. It depends a lot on the place. If you go eat ramen in a restaurant, it can start from 600 yen, roughly $6. That's pretty much the cheapest you can get. And there are restaurants where you can pay for the time you spent there, and during that time you can eat all you want. And these can be really nice because you can also, some of them include drinks, both alcohol and soft drinks, and like pretty much as much food as you can eat in that time. As an example, we went to one of those to celebrate one of the exchange students' birthday, and it cost 300 yen, which is quite a lot, but they had tons of stuff. Alcoholic drinks were not included, but they had pretty much everything. Ice cream, cotton candy, all kinds of meat, fruits, pancakes, ramen, sushi, tempura, slushies, coffee, and they have pretty much everything you can imagine. This was really nice. I think it was almost worth the money. Alcohol is rather expensive in Japan, pretty much the same price as in Finland. Of course, it depends what you buy. For example, one beer starts with 100 yen, a bit over $1 per beer. And that's the cheapest. And of course in bars and restaurants it's more expensive. Like coffee. When you are in a cafe, coffee's price starts from 300 yen, usually somewhere between 300 and 500 yen, which is quite expensive, but it's also good, so why not?
In school cafeteria you pay for what you eat, so there are lots of different portions you can choose from, and they just sum them up in the register and you pay for them. And it can be, you can eat quite a lot for a small price.
Of course, if you buy food from supermarkets it's cheaper, but you have to cook yourself, even though they do have some like ready-made foods as well. The prices vary a lot. Vegetables and fruits are freaking expensive in Japan. For example, 3 onions are the cheapest we have seen has been I think 140 or 30 yen. Especially fruits are really expensive. Like some of the fruits can be twice as much as in Finland, which is already a pretty expensive country. But I guess the reason for it is because Japan is an island. It's isolated from the rest of the world and they have to import everything they cannot produce themselves. And since there's almost or something like 130 million people, obviously they cannot produce food for all of them so they have to use imported products. Chicken is quite cheap, maybe half of the price from Finland, so 3-4 euros a kilo, which is not much, to be honest. Beef and pork, especially beef, is pretty expensive. Pork is not that bad. Fish is not very expensive, like compared to other countries. As I mentioned in my first video, vending machines are the best, and they have soft drinks, water, all kinds of tea, cold and warm, and coffee. Price starts from 100 yen and goes up to 160, which is roughly a bit over €1. So that's nice. Next topic is housing and rent and living in general. I'm living in a student dorm, so obviously my rent is not very high. My usual monthly rent will be around 15,000 yen, I guess, which is roughly 150 euros. Maintenance fee, which includes cleaning of the building and so on, that is 20,000 yen per half a year. As you can see, I have this very beautiful bed cover here. I hate it. I rented it beforehand and it cost 6,000 yen for a half a year. You can get bed sheets for a lesser price or cheaper price, but then you have to get rid of them when you move out. So this was an ecological choice as well. Also, they were here when I moved in, so that's quite nice. I didn't have to go buy them myself and carry them here. If you're about to live in Japan, you probably want to buy something to your apartment, and there are at least a few different kind of 100 yen shops which sell all kinds of stuff, like seriously all kinds of stuff for 100 yen. And for example, cooking tools, decorations, anything you need, anything basic you need in your home. So they are very convenient, especially for me as a student. Also, there are second-hand stores like Book Off, Hard Off, Hobby Off, but I'll get to that later. Buying clothes is fairly expensive in Japan, but for example in Uniqlo, H&M and GU, the clothes are a bit cheaper. If you care about entertainment in Japan, which you should, because this is the country of entertainment, there's plenty of it and it's fairly cheap. For example, one book of Hero Academy is 400 something yen when it's new. At least Japanese video games are a bit cheaper. Going to movies, pretty expensive, same price as in Finland, like starting from 1,000 yen, 10 euros ish. Back to games and manga and books, you can get really cheap ones if you go to Book Off. It's basically a second-hand store for video games, DVDs and manga and books. If 100 yen shops are not for you, you can go to Hard Off or Hobby Off to get some stuff from there, like figures for example, which I'm a huge fan of. And they're fairly cheap. Even though they're used, some of them are unopened and you can get them for a really cheap price. Seems like many younger Japanese people like to order stuff from Amazon.jp because they deliver the stuff in absurdly short time. And the prices are usually a bit cheaper there, but depends what you buy. If you have any other specific questions, leave them down because I obviously don't remember anything about the prices or like the price for this specific item you want to know about. Just leave a comment and I'll try to find more information. Oh, my tummy just growled. Anyway, sorry about the lameness of this video. Last week was really busy for me. I'm gonna upload another video this week about a school trip we had a while ago, and hopefully that'll be a bit more entertaining. But I hope this video was useful to you, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.